A medieval celebrity of sorts, outlaw and rebel extraordinaire, Robin Hood. Now, of course, Robin Hood's tale is more layered than just steals from the rich, gives to the poor. The real history behind Robin Hood is murky, mostly because we don't have exact records of a guy with a quiver full of arrows sticking it to the man. But what's fun is imagining he, or the people he was based on, were genuinely on the opposite side of the law, making him one of the earliest, most wanted figures, if only because he was a giant thorn in the side of the Sheriff of Nottingham, who, let's face it, probably deserved a lot of trouble coming his way. The medieval world didn't have most wanted posters pinned to town squares like today, obviously. Instead, royal proclamations or church decrees would turn folks into outlaws, sometimes for the smallest infractions, sometimes for the most grandiose crimes. Take, for instance, a chap like William Wallace. Yes, Braveheart. He was Scotland's uneasy hero and England's most wanted man after a few particularly nasty skirmishes. His life was a string of fugitive moments, one step ahead of English sheriff-like types, or constables if you want to get technical, to the point where eventually, of course, law caught up with him. Wallace's story is a blend of romanticized valor and grim reality. Picture this, a man so determined to stick it to the English crown that he lived constantly on the edge of capture, hunted by troops far better equipped than our sleek rebel. The guy was eventually caught not because he messed up some daring escape, but reportedly because a boy betrayed him for a bribe. Charming medieval drama, right? Either way, he goes from folk hero to most wanted thug until his very public and, shall we say, unpleasant execution. Let's float over to another royal disaster, Perkin Warbeck. Now here's a fascinating specimen in the most wanted gallery. Perkin was a pretender, the medieval equivalent of impostor-in-chief. He claimed to be Richard of Shrewsbury, one of the princes in the Tower, the mysterious royal children who vanished. His claim was enough to stir up a political mess across England and Europe, landing him on the wanted list not just of England, but of a few other countries who were playing political chess with the Tudor dynasty. Perkin shuffled around the continent like a medieval man on the run, trying to muster support to claim a throne that was definitely not his. His life is like a soap opera with a lot more wigs and very slow betrayals. Eventually, after failed attempts to raise an army or get foreign backers, he was captured, pardoned, escaped, captured again, and finally executed. His story is the textbook Pretender's Plate, which was basically medieval politics 101. If you weren't the real ruler, someone wanted you dead or at least locked up. Moving on to someone with a darker shade, Joan of Arc. She's not exactly most wanted in the criminal sense, more like most wanted by the French and English religious authorities because she decided to get involved in politics while wearing armor. Joan's story is full of petulant nobles, warring kingdoms, and a young peasant girl who was suddenly the most disruptive figure in all of France. She was put on trial by the English-backed church authorities, accused of heresy, witchcraft, and wearing men's clothing, which apparently was a big no-no. She was executed at 19, burned at the stake, all because she believed she had divine guidance. Not quite your everyday most wanted poster, but definitely a chilling example of medieval power struggles and the fine line between saint and heretic. Speaking of heretics, let's drift to someone less celebrated. Jan Hus, a Czech priest who wouldn't keep his mouth shut about church corruption. He was excommunicated, declared a heretic, and then invited to the Council of Constance under safe conduct. Safe conduct in medieval terms usually meant, we'll totally keep you safe until we don't. Huss was arrested on arrival and burned at the stake, a fine example of medieval most wanted ecclesiastical justice. The beauty of his story is the calm irony. He died because he spoke up, but his ideas sparked a whole religious movement that simmered into the Protestant Reformation decades later. Huss was a man on the wrong side of both politics and religion.